Λοιπόν, καλημέρα σε όλους. Είμαι η Άννα Μαρία Χριστοφόρου, επιστημονική λειτουργός στο Ίδρυμα Έρευνας και Καινοτομίας και σήμερα θα σας παρουσιάσω την πρόσκληση του προγράμματος Postdoc. Θα έχετε την ευκαιρία να υποβάλλετε τις ερωτήσεις σας στο τέλος του webinar μέσω του Q&A session. Το webinar βιντεοσκοπείται και θα αναρτηθεί στην ιστοσελίδα τις επόμενες μέρες, στην ιστοσελίδα του ΕΔΕΚ, μαζί με την παρουσίαση. Και θα ετοιμάσουμε και έναν έγγραφο FAQ με τις πιο συχνές ερωτήσεις, το οποίο θα μπορείτε να χρησιμοποιήσετε. Λοιπόν, βλέπω ότι έχουμε αρκετούς που δεν είναι ελληνόφωνοι, οπότε νομίζω παρόλο που τα slides είναι στα ελληνικά, θα παρουσιάσω την πρόσκληση στα αγγλικά και αν έχουμε ερωτήσεις, αναλόγως και τον ρίτσο, θα προχωρήσουμε. Λοιπόν, so welcome everyone in this webinar. Even though the slides are in Greek, I will proceed with presenting in English, and we will later, you may ask all your questions in the Q&A session of, I see now you have sent me a message that let me know if now the connection is better. Okay, let's start, and if there is still a problem, please let me know. So there's still a problem. Let me see. Just give me a second so I can change my network and see if it's better. Do you think the connection is better now? Okay, I will proceed with the presentation, and if there is a problem, you will see the webinar. So the postdoc program supports newly recently PhD graduates to perform a project in any field and in any TRL level in an organization in Cyprus. This is, we had another call last year and the same program, and this is a repeat call with increased budget. As I already mentioned, proposals can be submitted in any field, and however, they can be under three scientific areas: life science, physical science and engineering, social sciences and humanities. The host organization can be any type of organization. Partner organizations can also be any type of organization. It's not obligatory to have a partner organization, it's optional. And also research organizations from abroad can participate. As I said, this call has an increased budget of 4.6 million euro. And this budget is distributed in two areas, in two categories. Category A is for research organizations and other organizations as host organization. And the budget is 3,760,000. And the category B is for enterprises as host organizations. And the total budget for enterprises is 840,000. The budget is distributed in the three scientific areas. In life sciences, we have 1.665 million, and this is distributed 1.35 million for research organizations and others, and 304,000 for enterprises. The same applies for physical sciences and engineering. And for the scientific areas, social sciences and humanities, we have 1.3 million, which is distributed in 1,060,000 for research organizations and 240 for enterprises. The budget is allocated in two categories, in personnel cost, and based on the cost of personnel cost, 40% of the personnel cost for all other expenses. This second category, other expenses, covers overheads, travel, consumables, equipment, and any other related expense to the project. The personnel cost can cover the personnel cost of the postdoc, of course, who is the coordinator of the project, and any other personnel that might be engaged in the project. The maximum funding is 150,000 euro for the scientific areas of life science and physical science engineering, whereas for social sciences and humanities, it's 120,000 euros. Some critical points that you need to have in mind. The postdoc is the coordinator of the proposal. He or she submits the proposal and will be the coordinator for the whole duration of the project and has to participate in the project for the whole duration. In case the postdoc leaves the organization or for any reason does not want to continue with the project will be terminated. So this means that the coordinator cannot be replaced. What do we consider a postdoc? A postdoc is someone who has their PhD for maximum 7 years from the date of the postdoc, from their PhD title. And this period, the 7-year period, can be extended in cases of maternity or paternity leave, military service, and health leave for health reasons for more than 3 months. Each postdoc can submit one proposal, and he should commit to work at least 70% of the duration of the project in the project. The project duration is 24 months. It's a fixed duration. So the postdoc should work at least 70% of the 24 months in the project. This does not mean he has to be full-time. The postdoc can be part-time, but the total time assigned to the project should be at least 70% of the duration. Something else that is important is that you need to submit your PhD title and any evidence for the extension period in the proposal. We have a lot of questions regarding submission of proposals in the other call that we have now open, the excellence call. It is important to note that each proposal should only be submitted in one of the two calls. When we say each proposal, we mean the objectives, the research project described in the proposal. During proposal submission, you need to submit a declaration signed by you, the coordinator, and the legal representative of your organization that the research project that is described has not been submitted in the other call as well. We have a template for this declaration, which you can find under the call documents. Please also note that postdoc coordinators of the previous call, postdoc 0524 and excellence 0524, are not allowed to submit proposals in this call. How is the selection of proposals going to happen after evaluation? The two female coordinators' proposals in each thematic scientific area will be selected independently of their post organization. And then the rest of the proposals per scientific area based on their host organization. And then independently, the total budget of each category, independent of the scientific area. All proposals are submitted through IRIS. You need to make sure you have a profile on IRIS as a researcher in order to be able to submit a proposal. And the proposal has three main parts. The main part, the first part is part A. This is an online form that you need to fill on IRIS. Part 4 has several tabs. There is a tab where you will submit part B. Part B is the actual scientific proposal. There is a template under call documents on IRIS that you need to use. Make sure you use the current template, not last year, not from any previous year call, this year's template. And where you will describe all your work and proposed work. And this needs to be submitted also on IRIS. The other part is all the annexes. Annexes include three main documents. Your CV, at least the coordinator's CV, the postdoc's CV should be submitted. We encourage you to use Europass template, but it's not obligatory. Also, you may submit other team members' CVs. The declaration that this proposal has not been submitted in the excellence or postdoc call, and your PhD title. In case you fall out of the 7 years and you want to document more years, you need to submit the relevant documents. For example, for a maternity leave, you need to submit your kid's birth certificate, where you can see when it was the birth date and if you are allowed the extension, or military service, or so on. So once the proposals are submitted, they go through the preliminary check, where we make sure all documents requested in the call are submitted. For example, if a proposal is submitted and you do not submit your PhD title, the proposal will not proceed for scientific evaluation. If you submit a proposal and you do not submit the declaration by the host organization and you, the proposal will not proceed to scientific evaluation. So make sure you put a lot of effort in preparing these proposals. Make sure you submit all relevant documents in order to proceed to scientific evaluation. So after the preliminary check, where all this and all the criteria of the preliminary check are included in the Restart program, because it also has other criteria as well, the proposals will go through scientific evaluation. Each proposal is sent to 2 independent evaluators. How does RIF select the evaluators? Evaluators are selected based on the keywords that you will be requested to add in part A. Make sure you select appropriate keywords in order to match your proposal with the right expert. Keywords should not be general. For example, chemistry or inorganic chemistry. It's better that it's a bit more specific to your proposal. However, avoid to put sentences and too much words in the keywords. Concise and relevant to your proposal keywords. So each evaluator will evaluate your proposal and give a score. The average of the two scores is your final score. If the scores have more than 3 points difference, your proposal will be assigned to a third evaluator. And in that case, we will take into consideration the two closest evaluation scores. So the evaluators are asked to evaluate, first of all, if the proposal is compatible to the call. This also includes whether the call is aligned with the do no significant harm principle, and whether your activities are aligned with the eligible activities. In this case, it's all activities of TRL 1 to 8 are eligible. And then we have the 3 criteria, evaluation criteria: excellence, implementation, and impact. You can find a description of what is included in each evaluation criterion in the call for proposal and the guide for evaluate. As I already said, the budget includes only 2 categories: personnel cost and other cost. Other cost is a fixed percentage on personnel cost. So let's say you have 100,000 euros for personnel cost. You are allowed 40% of that, which is 40,000, for all other expenses. All other expenses, including overheads for the host organization, including any foreign research organization, any external services that you might need to have in your proposal, consumables, equipment, travel, publication expenses. All these expenses are covered by the 40% of personnel cost. The deadline is November 28th at 1 o'clock. Make sure you submit your proposal in due time. Do not stay the last minute to submit the proposal. Please have in mind that if you submit your proposal earlier, you still have the chance, the opportunity to resubmit before the deadline. So once you have a good draft, submit it, and then to make sure there is a draft in the system, and then you can continue to improve your proposal and resubmit it again improved. The duration is 24 months. This is fixed for all projects. Some useful information is before you start your proposal to make sure you have read all relevant call documents. You have your host organization, you have their authorization to submit a proposal with them. You need their unique number. You need to speak with the legal representative of the host organization to have the unique number. Through IRIS, the host organization will need to authorize your proposal through the legal representative. And as I said, make sure you submit your proposal early and do not stay the last minute to submit your proposal. I already have some questions here that we often receive in the support. I will answer these questions and then you can write your questions in Q&A and I will continue with them. Is there a limitation in the number of proposals a host organization can submit? No. The host organization can submit, there is no limit in the proposals the host organization can submit. As a coordinator, you can submit only one proposal in postdoc. You can also submit proposals in excellence, because we often get this question. In excellence call, you can submit 2 proposals. In postdoc, 1. When we say proposals, we mean different projects. You cannot submit the same project in postdoc and in excellence, or 2 proposals in excellence with the same idea. And what happens if the postdoc leaves the project during its duration? As I said, the project will be terminated if the postdoc leaves. Is there a minimum effort, the staff effort requirement for the postdoc? Yes, you need to work at least 70% of the duration of the project in the project. Can the time limit of 7 years from the PhD title be extended? Yes, this can be extended. The date here is wrong. My apologies. Now I see it was in November. I will correct this before we upload it on the website. Maternity leave, you are allowed 18 months for each child born after your PhD for maternity leave. If you have paternity leave, then document the time. Document the time for military service, and also sick leave for more than 3 months, which also should be documented. These are the only reasons we can provide an extension. All documents regarding this extension should be submitted in your proposal. I think I have already explained this. How do we do the budget? If you have any specific questions, please write them in the Q&A. Again, how do we charge expenses for a foreign research organization? This is included in the 40%. The same applies for overheads. How many pages is Part B? Part B is 20 pages plus 6 pages for the 3 first pages in the template, which is the checklist, the guidelines, and the first page, and also 3 pages at the end for the selection of the S3 CY sector. Let me say here that in the template, you will find this table at the end of the template. There is a table with the sectors of the strategic smart specialization strategy of Cyprus, and you need to select one of those sectors. In case none of the sectors applies in your proposal, you may select 9, which is other, and that is okay. These sectors do not count in any way in your proposal. It's only registered for statistical reasons. However, it is important that you select the right scientific area. If you are, make sure in Part A, in the relevant tab, select the right Frascati area in order to be in the area you want: life sciences, physical sciences, engineering, or social sciences. I have a question here regarding participation rules for enterprises. In case there is a large enterprise in the consortium, you also need to include an SME, a small medium enterprise in the consortium. If you have an SME, you don't need a large enterprise. But in case you have a large enterprise, you need an SME as well. When are the results going to be announced? Usually 4 months after proposal submission deadline. And when do projects start? Usually up to 3 months after the results are announced and we start the contract preparation procedure. It is possible that the contract preparation procedure is completed in 1 month and the projects can start earlier. Here I have some questions that you input during your registration. What are the cutoff dates for your PhD? According to the call, it's 7 years up to the announcement date. How do you check if there are two same proposals? You need to submit the declaration that the proposal has not been submitted in the other call. In case it comes in our attention that the same proposal has been submitted in both calls, none of the proposals will proceed to scientific evaluation. So even though we request the declaration, we, in case it comes to our attention that they are the same, then we will not proceed with the evaluation. Σε περίπτωση που η πρόταση αφορά πανεπιστήμιο, είναι υποχρεωτική η ύπαρξη ενός μέλους ΔΕΠ στην πρόταση. Όχι, αυτό θα πρέπει να το συμφωνήσετε εσείς με το ανάδοχο φορέα. Αν ο ανάδοχος φορέας, το πανεπιστήμιο, σας υποχρεώνει να βάλετε κάποιο ΔΕΠ, θα πρέπει να βάλετε κάποιο ΔΕΠ. Το ΙΔΕΚ έχει την απέτηση, ο postdoc να υποβάλει την πρόταση και να επιλέξει ποια είναι τα team members που επιθυμεί να υλοποιήσουν την πρόταση μαζί. Αυτό επίσης είναι σχετικό με την επόμενη ερώτηση. Can I add a research assistant to my project proposal? Yes. You can add research assistants to your proposal, and you can also cover their personnel cost through the funding. What are the requirements, and can someone participate from the UK? If the person from the UK wants to participate as the coordinator, as the postdoc, they need to find a host organization in Cyprus and submit the proposal. If they want to participate as a foreign research organization, they can participate as foreign research organization. If it's an enterprise abroad, in the UK or wherever, they can participate as in external services, and this is included in the 40%. They are not included in the consortium. Can people that are about to defend their PhD thesis apply for this? You need to have a PhD during proposal submission. Proposal template. Will RIF provide a proposal structure document or template for applicants can use to prepare their proposal? Yes. As I said, under the call documents, there is a Part B template which you need to use in order to submit your proposal. It's critical that you use the template that is under the call documents. If you use another template or your own template or your own document, your proposal will not proceed to the evaluation, scientific evaluation. This will be checked during preliminary check. Can you clarify the per project budget cap and eligible cost categories? I think I have said enough about the budget. If you have any specific question, please let me know. Για ερευνητικά προγράμματα στις ανθρωπιστικές επιστήμες με καθαρά θεωρητικό περιεχόμενο, πώς γίνεται η δικαιολόγηση αντιστοίχηση μετά TRLs? Καλή ερώτηση. Για τις ανθρωπιστικές επιστήμες εφαρμόζεται ανάλογα το επίπεδο στο οποίο βρίσκεται η έρευνα σας. Μπορεί να μην είναι technology readiness, να είναι service readiness, να είναι αναλόγως τι είναι ο σκοπός σας. Και θα βάλω μια σχετική ερώτηση στο FAQ. Πώς γίνεται ο υπολογισμός της μηνιαίας αμοιβής για το PI και τους συνεργάτες? Λοιπόν, αυτόν εξαρτάται από το φορέα σας και τον τρόπο υπολογισμού αμοιβών που έχει επιλέξει για τα προγράμματα Restart. Το ΙΔΕΚ έχει 3 μεθόδους. Αν έχουν επιλέξει τη μέθοδο για το πραγματικό κόστος, τότε εφαρμόζεται η μέθοδος αυτή, δηλαδή το πραγματικό κόστος που θα έχουν για τις αμοιβές σας. Αν έχουν επιλέξει το hourly rate, το ωριαίο κόστος, τότε υπάρχει μία κλίμακα, ένα fixed όριο για άτομα, για τους PhD, με λιγότερο από 7 χρόνια εμπειρίας, το οποίο δικαιούστε είναι ένα ποσό την ώρα. Πρέπει να βρούμε κάποιο mentor για το call. Όπως έχω πει, εξαρτάται από εσάς η ετοιμασία και ο ορισμός της ομάδας έργου. Εσείς θα κρίνετε ποιοι είναι απαραίτητοι για την υλοποίηση του έργου. Και η τελευταία ερώτηση, can the same person serve as a coordinator for more than one program? Αν εννοείται, if you mean program, a proposal within POSTO, no. Each person can only submit a proposal in one proposal in this call. Now, I will see your questions. I see we already have a lot of them. Μπορεί ένας ερευνητής να υποβάλει πρόταση στο postdoc και μία εντελώς διαφορετική στο excellence? Ναι, μπορεί. Για όσους είναι στον τομέα, for those in the field of education, which S3 CY option do you suggest we choose? Αυτό εξαρτάται καθαρά από εσάς. Εσείς θα αποφασίσετε σε ποιον τομέα εμπίπτετε. Όπως έχω πει, αν δεν εμπίπτετε σε κανένα από τους τομείς της στρατηγικής έξιμης εξειδίκευσης που είναι εκεί, επιλέξτε το 9 other. Can organizations from the UK participate as partners? No. The consortium is only organizations from Cyprus. Organizations from abroad can participate either as research organizations, foreign research organizations, if they are research organizations, or in other cases, they can be in external services. And they can be, in any case, the amount for these organizations can be covered through external services. And there's the same question for this. And because you asked if the universities from the UK, you can include foreign research organizations from anywhere in the world. If I am not working at the organization already, how can I ensure that will be employed from the first day that the project starts? Considering that I need to wait for the outcome in order to organize any move to Cyprus from abroad, and I will also require a visa. It feels that this rule puts applicants with a non-Cypriot residency nationality as a disadvantaged position. Please correct me if I am wrong. Yes. As I already mentioned, after the announcement of the results, there is the period called contract preparation, where this can last up to 3 months, which this period will give you the opportunity to relocate to Cyprus, acquire your visa, and of course, the host organization can start your employment during the first day of the project. So the projects do not start immediately after call results announcement. You have this period where you will organize all this required work. If your proposal is successful, when can you start? When is the earliest and the latest? As I said, the latest is 3 months after we call you to start the contract preparation. The earliest is up to you. If everything is okay, the contract is approved, the host organization has submitted all the relevant documents, the project can start very early. Is RIF planning to update the eligibility extension resource and window to follow ERC requirements? No, the call permits certain extension reasons, and these are included in the call. How can you be the postdoc as part-time? Is it still 24 months? Can you change it later to part-time, or you need to specify it now? If yes, how? The postdoc can be full-time or part-time. Part-time, however, is at least 70% of their time. It's up to you and the host organization if you have any other obligations. Sometimes postdocs also have some teaching obligations, or they have the reason that is not 100%, the obligation in the call is not 100%, is to provide the postdocs with the opportunity to implement other activities that might be useful for their career. So the minimum is 70%, maximum of course is 100%. Ποιος είναι ο νόμιμος εκπρόσωπος στον άδοχο φορέα, ο ίδιος ο supervisor ή κάποιος άλλος? Όχι. Όταν οι φορείς γράφονται για πρώτη φορά στο IRIS για να συμμετέχουν στα προγράμματα τουριστά, ορίζουν τον νόμιμο εκπρόσωπο τους. Αν σας ενδιαφέρει κάποιος συγκεκριμένος φορέας, μπορείτε να επικοινωνήσετε μαζί τους. Αν είναι πανεπιστήμιο, μπορείτε να βρείτε την υπηρεσία έρευνας τους και να ρωτήσετε ποιος είναι ο νόμιμος εκπρόσωπος και θα σας καθοδηγήσουν αυτοί πώς θα γίνει η υποβολή της πρότασης. Αν είναι επιχείρηση, μπορείτε να βρείτε τους διευθυντές ή κάποιον άλλον πρόσωπο στην εταιρεία που θα ξέρει ποιος είναι ο νόμιμος εκπρόσωπος. Does my nationality matter when applying for this call? Do I need to be Cypriot or living in Cyprus? No. You can be anywhere in the world, but you need to relocate to Cyprus, of course, if the proposal is successful and will be implemented in Cyprus. And must be implemented in Cyprus. Will I get any support, financial, but also advice about the visa application process to be able to move and work in Cyprus? RIF does not provide this support. However, the host organization might be able to support you. You need to talk to your host organization. Με ποιο άτομο από το IDEC μπορούμε να επικοινωνούμε για το host call? Με το IDEC μπορείτε να επικοινωνείτε μέσω του support που υπάρχει, η υπηρεσία εξυπηρέτησης συνεργατός, στο τηλέφωνο 22-5000 ή 22-25,000 ή στο email support@research.org.cy. Is there a conflict between already submitted proposals with the RIF still under review, for example, proof of concept? Δεν υπάρχει κάποιος περιορισμός για τις προτάσεις που έχουν υποβληθεί στο proof of concept. Όμως, αν στην πορεία εγκριθεί η πρόταση σας proof of concept και εντοπιστεί ότι η πρόταση στο postdoc είναι η ίδια, μεταξύ, let me answer in English. In case you resubmit a proposal, you are asked to, in part A, to declare whether the proposal you are submitting now has already been submitted in the past in RIF. So there you will mention that, for example, this proposal has also been submitted in proof of concept. In case your proposal in proof of concept is successful and proceeds to a contract preparation, and this is also successful, then depends on the time. I cannot answer the hypothetical questions now without any document. But in any case, during proposal submission, you need to declare if this proposal has already been submitted in RIF in the past. Χρειάζεται υποχρεωτική παρουσία στην Κύπρο ή μπορεί να γίνει εξ αποστάσεως? Η υποβολή της πρότασης μπορεί να γίνει εξ αποστάσεως, αλλά η εργασία, αν στην περίπτωση που η πρόταση είναι πετυχημένη, θα πρέπει να εργοδοτηθείτε στην Κύπρο, από τον ανάδοχο φορέα στην Κύπρο. Can the same proposal be submitted to both the postdoc and excellence calls with a different coordinator in each case? As I already said, you cannot submit the same proposal in postdoc and excellent calls. It doesn't say, the requirement doesn't say the coordinator should not submit the same proposal. The same proposal should not be submitted in both calls. And that is why the legal representative of the host organization needs to declare and sign the declaration that this proposal has not been submitted in both calls. So, no, the same proposal cannot be submitted with a different coordinator. When the proposal is resubmitted, will the authorization from the host organization remain valid, or new authorization needs to be issued? No. New authorization needs to be issued through IRIS, if you are talking about the legal representative authorization in IRIS, or a new declaration needs to be submitted again. So this is a valid point. Make sure you use the new declaration that refers to the current calls, does not refer to the previous calls. Make sure you use the declaration for the 2025 calls. Is there a limit for overheads? Overheads are included in the 40% of personnel costs for other costs. Η παρουσίαση θα μας αποσταλεί, υπάρχει κάπου διαθέσιμη με recording. Η παρουσίαση γίνεται recorded και θα αναρτηθεί μαζί με την παρουσίαση στην ιστοσελίδα του ΙΔΕΚ τις επόμενες μέρες. For the extension reasons, do you only consider events after the PhD? Yes. Τι γίνεται αν υποβάλουμε ξανά μια πρόταση που είχε υποβληθεί πέρσι, αλλά απορρίφθηκε λόγω κάλυψης του budget? Αξιολογείται με περισσότερη αυστηρότητα? Όχι. Η πρόταση, κάθε πρόταση που υποβάλλεται, αξιολογείται ξανά από την αρχή. Δεν λαμβάνεται υπόψη αν είχε υποβληθεί στο παρελθόν ή όχι, και ούτε οι αξιολογητές το λαμβάνουν υπόψη αυτό. Do we need to find a supervisor at the University of Cyprus? If you want to submit a proposal with the host organization of the University of Cyprus, you need to contact them and get their advice of how the proposal should be submitted. As I already mentioned, RIF does not have does not require that you have a supervisor. However, maybe the host organization has some requirements. So you need to contact the host organization and see what their requirements are. Υπάρχει ελάχιστος ή μέγιστος αριθμός συμμετόχων για κάθε πρόταση? Δηλαδή, μπορεί να υπάρχει μόνο ένας συμμετέχον, ο οποίος είναι ο συντονιστής. Αν ο συντονιστής μπορεί να πει ναι, δεν υπάρχει δεν υπάρχει μέγιστος αριθμός. Μπορεί να είναι μόνο ο συντονιστής, ο οποίος φυσικά θα πρέπει να πείσει τους αξιολογητές ότι μπορεί να υλοποιήσει το project που υλοποιεί από μόνος, που προτείνει από μόνος. Μπορεί να μπει στην επιστημονική ομάδα συνεργάτης από άλλο πανεπιστήμιο εκτός Κύπρου και εκτός φορείς από το εξωτερικό μπορούν να συμμετέχουν αν είναι ερευνητικοί φορείς ως ερευνητικοί φορείς του εξωτερικού. Αν μιλάμε για ένα συγκεκριμένο πρόσωπο, αυτός μπορεί να συμμετέχει είτε με το φορέα του εξωτερικού, σαν ερευνητικός φορέας του εξωτερικού. Αν θα μπει στην ομάδα team member, θα πρέπει να εργοδοτηθεί από το φορέα, τον ανάδοχο φορέα ή τον συνεργαζόμενο φορέα. Τα άτομα τα οποία θα οριστούν στην πρόταση σαν team members και θα χρεώνουν χρόνο και των μισθών τους, τις αμοιβές τους στο έργο, θα πρέπει να είναι εργαζόμενοι στο φορέα, στον ανάδοχο φορέα, αν είναι κάτω από τον ανάδοχο φορέα, ή στο συνεργαζόμενο φορέα, αν είναι κάτω από τον συνεργαζόμενο φορέα. For RIF Excellence 0925, you mentioned that the applicant can submit 2 projects. Yes, I confirm they can submit 2 projects. If so, he must divide his participation percentage between the 2 projects. If both of them are successful and both of them start, yes, he needs to divide his time. What is the chance of accepting it? Accepting what? If you are able to submit 2 proposals and both of them are successful, you can proceed with both of the proposals. If the proposal is successful, when can you start? When is the earliest and latest? Mostly asking if someone already has a contract that finishes, for instance, in 10 months, is it okay the postdoc to start later? As I already mentioned, After the deadline, which is end of November, proposal evaluation takes about 4 months. And then the contract preparation takes another 3 months. So we are talking from today, that is more than 8 months in order for the projects to start. This is an estimation. I cannot answer questions without specific dates and without knowing when the results will be announced and when the contract preparation will start. So I can only give you an indication of when the projects are expected to start, and that is in 8.5 months from today, almost 9 months from today. Μπορώ να κάνω αίτηση με βεβαίωση ολοκλήρωση του διδακτορικού. Έχω ολοκληρώσει το διδακτορικό για την υποστήριξη, αλλά για να είναι έτοιμος ο τίτλος, χρειάζεται διαδικασία 3 μηνών να περάσει από το Συμβούλιο Τμήματος, Συμβούλιο Σχολής και Πριτανεία. Αν έχετε βεβαίωση ότι έχετε ολοκληρώσει όλες τις υποχρεώσεις σας για το διδακτορικό σας και το μόνο που μένει είναι η αποφοίτηση για να πάρετε τον τίτλο, τότε μπορείτε να βάλετε αυτή τη βεβαίωση. Another question regarding if the start date can be extended. Again, I can now give you an indication when the projects will start. This is expected in about roughly 9 months from today. Can I submit the same proposal that I have submitted for a different grant? If the grant was not successful and the project is not already funded, yes, you can submit it, but you need to declare in Part A, in the relevant section, that this proposal is a resubmission. Επειδή στην πρόταση μας δεν υπάρχει συμμετοχή μικρομεσαίας επιχείρησης, θα μπορούσαμε να συμπεριλάβουμε το Ινστιτούτο Νευρολογίας ως συνεργαζόμενο φορέα, ώστε να διασφαλίσουμε ότι η πρόταση μας πληρεί πλήρως τα κριτήρια της περιλεξιμότητας. Δεν μου αναφέρεται εδώ ποιος είναι ο ανάδοχος φορέας. Αν ο ανάδοχος φορέας είναι μεγάλη επιχείρηση, για παράδειγμα, θα πρέπει να έχετε και μία μικρομεσαία. Αν ο ανάδοχος φορέας είναι οποιοδήποτε, ένα πανεπιστήμιο, είναι ένας άλλος φορέας, δεν υπάρχει πρόβλημα για το να βάλετε το Ινστιτούτο Νευρολογίας και Γενετικής ως συνεργαζόμενο φορέα. Αν θέλετε, πάρτε μας τηλέφωνο να μας πείτε συγκεκριμένα ποιος είναι ο ανάδοχος φορέας και να σας βοηθήσουμε. In this call, postdocs who just received their PhDs are asked to compete with more experienced postdocs. Indeed, when there is a 7-year period, junior postdocs compete with experienced postdocs. How much weight is placed on the postdoc's profile during the evaluation of the proposal? You must see the evaluation criteria, and you will see what is the weight of each criterion regarding the coordinator. External services should not be mentioned or listed as consortium partners. Yes, of course. They are not part of the consortium. Just as collaborators that will provide some services. You can mention them, yes, as collaborators, but please, you need to adhere to any relevant legislation. And for example, if you are in a public organization, you need to go with the δημόσιες συμβάσεις and προσφορές and so on. In any case, they are not part of the consortium. Πώς καθορίζεται το field? Π.χ. αν σε ένα proposal συνδυάζεται humanities και computer science, τότε ανήκει στα humanities ή στο πεδίο της μηχανικής. Αυτόν εσείς θα το επιλέξετε. Θα δείτε τα φρασκάτι codes που είναι εκεί και θα επιλέξετε ποιον είναι πιο κοντινό στο αντικείμενό σας. Does the postdoc have to be employed only at the start of the project or also at the signature of the contract, if the latter precedes the former? Ο κανονισμός λέει ότι ο συντονιστής, δηλαδή ο postdoc, θα πρέπει να είναι εργαζόμενος κατά την ημερομηνία έναρξης του έργου. Άρα, αν το συμβόλαιο υπογραφεί, για παράδειγμα, μερικές μέρες πριν, δεν είναι ανάγκη να είναι υπάλληλος την ημέρα υπογραφής. Πρέπει όμως να είναι υπάλληλος, εργαζόμενος, κατά την έναρξη του έργου. Can you please confirm whether in Part B, where the consortium is described, I should refrain from adding details about the foreign partner university in the UK? If the foreign partner university in the UK is named as a foreign research organization in the proposal in Part A, then you can describe them in Part B. So postdoc is for TRL 1 to 8 and excellence for TRLs 1 to 4. Does this mean excellence is for more novel frontier research than postdoc? Novel and frontier research does not have to do with TRLs. TRLs refer to the technology readiness level of the research, of the, let's say, the product you are developing. In TRLs 1 to 4, of course, you are still at the beginning, at the start of this journey for product development. As I said, and also in the excellence webinar, postdocs may work also in the enterprises and may be working in higher TRLs. That's why it's allowed to go to higher TRLs. Could you give some detail about how personals are allocated? Personals are allocated based on the work you're proposing to do, and also on how you will consider that is appropriate for the project to be implemented. For example, in Part B, you will see there is a fixed work package 1, which is management, work package 2, which is the dissemination. Then you add all other work packages about how you will implement your project. You need to allocate your personals according to the proposed work and how much time you need to do that work. If it's a 24-month project, please note that at least 24 months of personals should be allocated, and the postdoc should have at least 70% of that. Είναι εύκολο κάποιος να γίνει δεχτός στο πρόγραμμα, ειδικά στον τομέα των ανθρωπιστικών επιστημών? Μπορείτε να δείτε τα περσινά αποτελέσματα, όπου θα δείτε πόσες προτάσεις υποβλήθηκαν, πόσες προτάσεις επιλέχθηκαν για χρηματοδότηση και πόσες προτάσεις πέρασαν το threshold, για να δείτε κάποια στατιστικά στοιχεία. Πρέπει να υπάρχει υποχρεωτική παρουσία στο φορέα στην Κύπρο, επομένως. Μπορείτε να δείτε τις υποχρεώσεις του συντονιστή μέσα από την προκήρυξη Restart. Και τι χρειάζεται να γίνει, τι απαιτείται για την εργοδότηση ενός ατόμου σε ένα φορέα. Τι θεωρούμε ότι είναι υποχρεωτικό να υπάρχει. Another question regarding the extension of the start of the project due to maternity leave. Okay, maternity leave is a valid reason that can be used to extend the start of your proposal. However, this will need to be examined during contract preparation time, and you need to document this to see when you will be able to start. What is the monthly salary of the postdoc? Αυτόν εξαρτάται από τον ανάδοχο φορέα. θα πρέπει να μιλήσετε με τον ανάδοχο φορέα για τη μέθοδο που έχουν επιλέξει για τις αμοιβές προσωπικού, αν είναι πραγματικό κόστος ή αν είναι με το ωριαίο κόστος. Αν είναι με το ωριαίο κόστος, τότε αυτό μπορείτε να το βρείτε στην προκήρυξη Restart. Υπολογίστε ότι περίπου οι ώρες ενός ανθρωπομήνα είναι γύρω στις 150, αναλόγως του φορέα, μεταξύ 140 και 150. Να πολλαπλασιάσετε με το κόστος των ωριαίων που υπάρχει στην προκήρυξη, αναλόγως του επίπεδου σας, και να βρείτε τον μηνιαίο μισθό. Αν είναι με πραγματικό κόστος, τότε θα πρέπει φυσικά να επικοινωνήσετε με τον. Σε κάθε περίπτωση πρέπει να επικοινωνήσετε με τον ανάδοχο φορέα για να δείτε πώς θα το υπολογίσετε. In the budget section, how specific should I go? For instance, is amount of budget in the two categories sufficient, or detailed budget on equipment, publication, travel needs to be listed separately? A good question. In the template in part B, you should explain the personnel cost in detail, meaning that you will say, I will cover my personnel cost for X amount of months, 24 months. I will also cover a PhD student salary for 5 X amount of months, and this is their salary. So you need to declare there how you calculated your personnel cost, and other costs, you do not need to go into detail. You can only say, I will use this amount for travel, for publication, for equipment, and all other expenses. No detail is needed for the 40%. Do collaborators providing external services need to sign some declaration or provide prior approval for participation that the RIF will request at any point? If it's for external services, for this call, we will not require any documentation at the proposal stage. Μπορεί κάποιος να μπει σε team members σαν free consultant, π.χ. κάποιος professor από UK. Όπως έχω πει, τα team members τα οποία θα χρεώνουν χρόνο θα πρέπει να υποβάλουν timesheets για ο χρόνο τους, και αν πληρώνονται θα πρέπει να υποβάλουν και στοιχεία ότι είναι εργαζομένοι στον ανάδοχο φορέα. Μπορεί κάποιος να μπει σαν ερευνητικός φορέας εξωτερικού και να καλυφθεί το κόστος του από το 40%. Αυτή η ερώτηση που ήταν για το αν χρειάζεται, βλέπω τώρα μου έχετε γράψει ότι ο ανάδοχος φορέας είναι το EUC Research Center. Το EUC Research Center είναι οργανισμός έρευνας, δεν είναι μεγάλη επιχείρηση, και για τον λόγο αυτό, ναι, μπορείτε να βάλετε για συνεργαζόμενο φορέα το Ινστιτούτο που έχετε πει, χωρίς να χρειάζεται να μπει κάποια επιχείρηση στο consortium. My proposal focuses on education. If we refer to service and education readiness instead of technological readiness, will that be okay? Yes. Depending on your field, you should apply the relevant readiness level. That was all the questions I had in the Q&A section. If you have any more questions, you may contact us at the RIF Support Center, through phone or through email, and we will respond to your questions. Thank you for your participation, and have a good afternoon and good luck in your proposals.